Hey guys, how's it going? Ed here with another video, and today we are at Fenwick in Bond Street, and I'm lucky enough to be joined by the creative duo behind niche fragrance brand Ex Idolo. We have Matthew and Tanya Zhuk. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you both?
I'm good.
So, firstly, the name Ex Idolo, very cool. I feel like there might be a story behind that. How did you actually come up with the name for your brand?
So the name is Latin in origin. It kind of roughly translates to from a spectre, from an apparition. I think that, well, I remember speaking to an old professor of mine. He said that Latin is quite difficult to translate in English, so it's only an approximation. But basically, it just kind of came from the idea of bringing things from the past, things that were kind of like a ghost of something past. With the first fragrance, 33, the aged oud, sort of felt like, you know, you'd be something that was distilled 30 plus years ago, using it in a fragrance now. Again, it's the essence of a tree that had been, you know, alive for quite some time before that. No one knows exactly how long, but it really was bringing something from the past into the present day.
Brilliant. And how did you guys decide, or I guess come up with the idea of starting your own fragrance brand? Was there like a eureka moment when you were like, you know what, this is what we want to do? I mean, I guess have you always had, I assume you must have always had like a passion for fragrance and for art and to create something, you know?
I would say that you probably had more of a earlier kind of passion for fragrance than I did.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Earlier.
Yeah, a little bit earlier.
The interest in fragrance as an art, or let's say as something that's quite creative, came from when I was 14, I think, and I remember reading a magazine about Nicole Kidman using dry fragrance made of vanilla and lavender. And I was like, wow, vanilla. So, and I didn't know at that time that it's like, you know, you have to have specific ingredients and everything. So I went to my mom's baking cabinet and I sort of got this like crystallized vanillina out of it. I was like, wow, this is a fragrance. And I was like walking around wearing it. And that's why I thought this fragrance is not just something that you spray out of the, you know, out of the bottle.
Yeah.
It could be different. I don't know, different materials, and there is a creative thing to it, and you can sort of make anything you want and address your thoughts, address your experiences in it. So that's basically that's how I came to it.
Brilliant. And so, growing up, were there any favorite fragrances of yours? Was there anything that you sort of wore that sort of really inspired you?
It's going to sound weird, but no.
Okay.
I always liked singular oils.
Yeah.
I do like to wear wood just on its own. I do like to wear citrus oils just on their own. I do like almost all of the fragrances.
Yeah.
I love whatever, because I don't like just because it's a fragrance.
Yeah.
I don't like it only for what it smells like. I like what the story is, what it makes me feel, most importantly. Some fragrances I love that brings makes me time travel back into the past, but nothing in particular really brings, only maybe Wonderwood.
Yeah, by Comme des Garçons. Yeah, that's nice, I like that as well. How about you, Matt? Growing up, was there anything that you sort of wear on a regular basis?
Well,
or?
I didn't really like fragrance for a very long time. Probably up into my early 20s. I just wasn't into it. Where I grew up, there was certainly no exposure to kind of niche fragrances. It was all just mainstream fragrances. And I really only got into it when I discovered the kind of niche community online. And started reading about all the different fragrances, discontinued fragrances, cult fragrances, fragrances that use different materials. I had always liked oud and Eggerwood incense primarily before that time, so I did know a little bit about that, kind of before coming into the niche world. So that's sort of what was the bridge for me. and learning that it was, you know, starting to be used in fragrances as well. And then from that point on, I started exploring different ingredients.
Yeah.
You know, more esoteric stuff.
Yeah.
You know, Castorium. I remember the first time I heard about that. I just, you know, it was really kind of a bit of a, like you say, a bit of a eureka moment. And that this isn't, it's not just some corporate branded product that comes in a, you know, in a sprayer every, you know, every September or whenever they tend to be released. And I really kind of, you know, I kind of got into it that way. My first probably favorites were a lot of the discontinued fragrances. So Versailles for was a big one, by Jean Desprez. Then there was the Patou pour which I really liked a lot. Creed's Royal English Leather was one that I really liked. I started getting into collecting a lot of the discontinued ones. And by Mimina, gosh, I don't remember. Then I kind of went on to Serge Lutens. You know, from there, really loved a lot of those, and it just kind of started down the rabbit hole a little bit, I guess. And there's a brand. I think they're from Saudi Arabia, I believe, is where they're produced. It's called Al Haramain, and I think it's one of the older, more established perfumers from the region. And they've got a line all the way down from, you know, kind of mass market stuff, all the way up to these really exclusive, probably unique, gift-oriented, you know, kind of fragrances that would come in beautiful crystal bottles in a, you know, in a wood case.
Massive bottle, like
this
size.
Cost, you know,
and the little vial is so small, like right in the middle, and just so precious.
Cost like $1,000, $2,000, and I got my hands on one of those. And that's kind of when I discovered that oud was used, you know, in that way as well. That kind of kicked off a lot of stuff for me.
Brilliant. You guys have 2 new fragrances out. I know to begin with you had 33, and then there was Rider, and it's been several years since you've put anything out, and I was just wondering if you could tell me a little bit about the 2 new offerings from Ex Idolo.
So you want to go first?
I'll just introduce. So we have 2 new fragrances. One is called Lucid Dream, and one is called Love and Crime. And they're over here. So that is Lucid Dream. It's a 30 ml bottle. Looks like that.
There's 2 sizes that they both come in, like a 30
sizes.
and a 50, I believe.
Yeah. 30
Yes.
and 50. So this is a little baby bottle. And Matt is going to tell you about the background and inspiration story.
Brilliant.
So, Lucid Dream is a fragrance that is inspired by the practice of lucid dreaming, which is kind of a sort of semi-meditative dream state that certain people use. It's been used by Tibetan monks, it's been used by artists, scientists, musicians, philosophers, you know, people of all walks of life, to kind of business people. I mean, I've dabbled. You know, we spoke to another guy a couple of weeks ago actually that was completely aware of the concept and also had tried it. So I think it's more common maybe than you think, but it's essentially a state where one is more in command of their dreaming. You can manipulate your dream rather than just kind of being carried, you know, away by your dreams as we often are. You can manipulate the surroundings of your dream. You can do all sorts of stuff. So people liken it sometimes to Inception, the film.
Yes.
It's probably a pretty popular analogy for it. And a lot of people use it to solve problems or to kind of meditate on issues or help work through things, develop,
So what are the notes involved in the fragrance then?
So it's kind of plays to that sort of dreamy sci-fi, almost sort of sci-fi-esque, feeling of this sort of advanced dream state. It's a bit cold. There's kind of a woody element. Don't really want to get too much into the makeup of it, because the point of it is really to kind of create that sort of otherworldly, rather than to root it into, as certainly 33 is more a celebration of that particular ingredient, the particular aged oud.
Yeah.
This one is more conceptually driven. So you've got a kind of a sort of a deep, dark, woody facet. You've got a rose that's quite clean and cold. You've got a smoky osmanthus. It's kind of got an ethereal quality to it.
Pink pepper.
Yeah.
Also at the top, to sort of help the cold sparkliness, I would say, in this particular fragrance.
Brilliant. And the second offering is...
Is Love and Crime.
Okay.
It's also baby bottle here. And I'm just placing them next to the little postcards that we've made with the illustrations to just sort of help out understand the concept. So Love and Crime was inspired by 1905 escape from a prison in Boston, and by a young woman who had her fiancé in prison because he turned out to be a robber, and she decided to free him by baking a cake, baking sows into a cake, bringing a cake to the prison, and they sewed through the bars over the night, and they escaped together.
Wow.
That was quite a story at the time, and it was they were inspiration. And people, they were like folk heroes of the time for in the era, especially for at that time for a young girl to do something like this was quite unspeakable. So she was very brave. I was very inspired by her bravery. And so the fragrance is the gourmand fragrance that is a bit vanilla based with the dark cocoa at the bottom, with the pink pepper at the top to add this like zestiness, and the most importantly red mandarin. When you smell it, you quite surprised right away that it's deep and it's dark, and that is for me a representation of the May's feelings when she was trying to make a decision to free her fiancé from prison. What else?
I mean, the fragrance itself is quite evocative of the cake.
Yes.
So it is
Right,
sort of...
Especially in that opening, there's a really kind of beautiful, lovely, smooth, sort of cakey-esque quality to the fragrance, which it kind of grabs you straight away right off the bat, which I think is really good. And it really kind of sets the tone for the rest of the experience.
Most important thing, yeah.
Yeah.
It's, it smells like a cake.
Yeah.
So when you smell it, it's basically a cake, because I think the cake may use the cake as a weapon.
Yeah.
And it's in itself the opposite, like in, you know, it's like the yin and yang in one thing. So cake is quite innocent thing. You look at it, it's, you know, it has cream and it's nice, but it just has souls inside, and she uses it as a weapon to escape.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So it's
Superb. So these are both on sale in Fenwick very soon, I believe.
from today. Yes.
From today, brilliant. And I think, am I right in saying that they're both available at Lucky Scent too?
Yes.
Yes.
At the moment, and I'm sure sort of very soon other sort of major retailers, sort of quite niche outlets will be stocking them.
Yeah, in London we'll have
Less and
Tours, obviously, yeah.
Less and Tours from this month, for November, you can get them. What else? Europe, Paris is
Saint-Denis.
Saint-Denis in Paris. What else?
You can get it online in the UK
Yeah.
soon. Not quite yet, maybe as of the date of this video, but hopefully within
Brilliant.
several days.
Yeah.
Superb. Well, it's been lovely meeting the pair of you. Thank you ever so much for your time, and best of luck with everything in the future.
Thank you.